Episode 200, and I had to bring on somebody who's a baller for my 200th episode. He is the number one ranked middleweight in regional MMA. He has more title belts than I have actual belts. I had to have him on my show. We're doing it today. He is Mr. Collin Huckbody, Young Huck. Welcome to my show, man. It's a real honor to have you, a real treat.
Thank you for having me, bro. I appreciate your time.
I wanted to hit on something about you. You're a young dude, and what's crazy, you're not even 30, but yet you have CDs. I see CDs on top of your head. I didn't
Oh
know
yeah.
you. I didn't know young people listen to CDs still, but you apparently are defying the odds here. You seem
I
very cultured.
bought this car. I bought this car from somebody else. It's actually their CDs. I haven't moved it. These aren't even mine. But yeah, I
Is
go with
I wanted to
usually.
ask, is there anything good, or are they all? Is it all trash?
Um, Nothing that I really listen to. I think it's a lot of I mean, yeah, I don't know these ones.
Huh. Okay. No. So, no, I was just hoping something embarrassing like a Spice Girls one would come up or something, you know. But Colin, there's something I wanted to hit up on you. It's really
Yeah.
important. A young guy, you're not even 30 years old. You're not even in your athletic prime yet. But when I think of you and doing my research on you, it's experience, actually. That's the first thing I think about. You've had 16 professional fights already, a lot of ups. You've ascended to a level of MMA that not a lot of people get to. And I wanted you to kind of like reflect on your career so far. Like, what has this journey been like for you? 16 pro fights. I mean, that's pretty incredible for somebody your age.
Yeah, a lot has happened throughout this career. I'm only 28 now. And when I said I wanted to get to the UFC, I want to be ready for the best, and I want to be able to make a run right when I enter. And right now, and what happened 3 years ago, I feel like I'm three times a better fighter and more prepared to make that UFC run. As if I were to be signed then. And yeah, I do have a lot of experience. 12-4, 9 finishes. My only two losses are to Aaron Jeffrey and Johnny Eblen, who are, some of the top fighters in the world. So, and I went 4 rounds with Jeffrey. Um, and I think I'm right there. I just got to keep faith and trust the process, of course. Um, yeah, the good things will happen.
There are a lot of things about your game that I think of. I think of somebody who has a lot of heart. And I also think of like wrestling, actually. That's like one of the things I think about. I think about a guy who is really difficult to stop, somebody who's really aggressive, somebody that's going to try to get this fight down to the mat. And once somebody like you is like on top of somebody, like
Yeah.
they're in for a long night. And I think you've been able to demonstrate that time and time again. But what are some other things about your game that you've been working on? I think about wrestling with you right away, but I know there are other things about your game that maybe a lot of other people don't know about. What are some of those things?
Well, if you watch my last fight with Joel Bauman, who the last guy who beat Joel Bauman, he got signed to the UFC right after that. So when you say heart, in that first round, he was taking it to me. It was a close first round, but I went through adversity, and the next 2 rounds dominated with striking and wrestling. So I was able to showcase a lot of wrestling and striking as well. So yeah, I think that's one part about my game that people didn't get to see because it wasn't on Fight Pass. But
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, we can get that film out there at some point so people can see it. I train at a pretty good jiu-jitsu gym here at ACA Fargo. We got some up and coming guys, but I also channel my time out at the MMA lab in Arizona. So that keeps a good balance to my game overall.
Not a lot in common between those two places, I have to say.
It's all about balance. It's all about balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Colin, let's hit on something because you already mentioned it a little bit, and I kind of want to dig deeper into it because this to me was like the biggest part of adversity you encountered in your MMA career. Bellator 272. You fought Johnny Eblen, who has since gone on to become the middleweight champion of Bellator. But then there's also Aaron Jeffrey, who's like, I want to say he's in the top five of those middleweight rankings as well. To have to fight both of those guys essentially back to back. I know that you had a fight in between there, but you essentially fought these two dudes back to back. that's a lot of adversity. I know those fights didn't really go your way, but when you like in the aftermath of the Bellator fight against Eblen, like take me back to the locker room, like kind of what was going through your head. I know that fight didn't really go as you had planned it, and
Sure.
there are a lot of for a lot of fighters, that's when a lot of like negativity starts coming in. It's like, well,
Oh yeah.
am I just going to be a big fish in a small pond? What does this really say about me? It can really kind of like throw a mental curveball to you. So tell me like what was kind of going through your mind in the aftermath of the Eblen fight and just kind of like how you got out of that hole mentally, not so much physically, but mentally.
Well, mentally for like a couple months there, a lot of things happened in my life that would drag a lot of people down and give adversity. So things outside the cage were a part of that loss. But I see there's fighters like Charles Oliveira who have lost like similar in that fashion and still found a way to flip the switch like I know I'm capable of doing. I've made a lot of mental adjustments since that fight, just being around the right people and believing in myself again. There was a time where self-belief was hard to find, but now I feel like I'm in that zone where I'm ready to do this and I'm ready to make a career out of this. But yeah, it was a low point after I lost to Eblen, but I didn't realize that I guess he was going to be the future champion. So I think if we fought again, I would do a lot better, but hopefully we're going the UFC route,
Mm-hmm.
because UFC having a card coming up in Chicago, Midwest. I'm the number one Midwest fighter. I'm the number one in the US. So if short notice opportunity comes, like I'm staying ready and I'm ready to go.
Oh, and that's something that I want to see. I want you to get an opportunity. They know who you are, and you're coming off back to back wins. But I wanted to kind of pause right there because with that adversity that you had gone through, like I think there's a story there, and you've already talked about some of that. But let's say I'm like a young guy out there, and I'm 4-0, and I get a title fight, and then I freaking lose the fight, and I'm feeling like shit. I'm in a bad mood, and I'm questioning some things. What would your advice be to like that sort of like hypothetical fighter out there who's lost a big fight before, maybe lost a fight on the Contender series or lost their Bellator debut? What would your advice be to somebody like that?
I think you got to go inside your mind spiritually and get right with, if you're a spiritual person, or you got to go deep within your mind and be with those negative thoughts. Try to keep training, be consistent. I would say, I've faced a little bit of adversity, but you know, it's a it's tough to say because I'm still in the midst of my career, still
Mm-hmm.
learning and growing. I don't consider myself a teacher quite yet, even though I'd like to be one day. Um, so it's tough because I'm right there with them. I'm trying to fight my back and claw right back to the UFC. So
You're well on your way. At post Eblen, the things I've seen you do in the ring has been nothing short of impressive. And I wanted to hit on not your most recent fight, but the fight where you won the Art of Scrap middleweight title. An impressive, impressive performance. I mean, you go out there and you do all the things I would have hoped to have seen you do, and you get a big, scary guy out of there in the very first round. Like, how validating was that for you to kind of get back out there and show people, like, hey, I still got this. Like, I'm not going anywhere.
for sure, yeah. That's the goal in every fight is to finish the fight and not get hit. And I think I did everything right as far as finishing the fight as fast as possible without taking any damage on my career. I'm moving up in the ranks and I'm not taking these hard hits outside of the biggest promotion in the world, the UFC. So when I get there, I'll be ready to go to war and I'll be ready to do all that. But right now, it's about getting in there, getting that win, and moving up in the rankings and get back where I want to be.
Collin, I have one final question for you. So you've already talked about like the UFC is the goal. There's a big card that's happening very soon in Chicago, and I'll give you an opportunity here because let's hope I'll tag Dana in this. Maybe he'll see it, or maybe Mick will see it. Who knows? But we're gonna go ahead and try. What type of guy are they getting in? Like they want more. The UFC they can have their pick of anybody, but like why should they want to like have somebody like you? I'll give you your chance to plead your case to them, to tell them who it is that they're getting.
Yeah, so I mean, statistically speaking, I am the number one guy in the US. I have a high finishing rate. 9 out of my 12 wins have come by finish. You know, I've defended my belt on the regional scene, Art of Scrap. I have 3 regional belts, one of them being CFFC Championship. That's a big one. Art of Scrap, defended that belt. And then I got the Throne MMA title as well. I feel if any middleweight did get hurt, I'm the number one guy to step in and replace, because I'm a finisher. I'm not a boring wrestler. I know how to finish fights. The guy who beat Joel last time, he got signed to the UFC right away. Congrats to Josh Fremd. I think that would be a great fight for the fans. And yeah, I feel like I'm ready to go, baby. So let's make it happen.
Let's make it. I'd love to see you fight Josh. Actually, he's a good guy, a big guy just like you. He can wrestle. He can strike too.
Oh,
I'd love to
yeah.
see that fight. That's a great fight for you.
Yeah, yep.
Hey, Josh Fremd, I'll love homie. I know Josh. He's been on my show. Great guy. But that's a great fight, and I want to watch it. Collin, I'm going to give you the final word. If you have any people that you need to thank out there, if you have sponsors or people in your corner, I'd like to give you the opportunity to shout those people out before I let you go.
Yeah. Let's thank Whitetail Properties, Zappy's Cafe, Subway in Park Rapids. We got Village Homes, Good Extracts, Reamer Motel, Converta Health Staffing, Scott Growth Strategies, and Itasca Log Homes. You guys really make the training camps a lot more worth it, because you're helping me with my career, and hopefully we're only up from here.
We're only up from here, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Please follow my guy on Instagram. I'm going to put all of his contact information in the description for this video. Collin, you're a G. I wish you the best of luck in your career. I know it's only up from here, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's next for you, and I hope we can do one of these again very, very soon, my friend.
Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate you, bro.